I'm telling you, dude, these conspiracy theories are crazy. Like, take Flat Earth, for example. Intellectuals look to empirical evidence, such as how Magellan circumnavigated the globe. And media like Google Earth. Morons, on the other hand, believe that the world is just round.
Wait, Will, I'm pretty sure you're getting ahead of yourself here. They're supposed to be switched.
No. It's even on the Flat Earth Society's website. See, the reason only half of the Earth is bright every day is because the sun is actually a giant sphere above us, acting as a large spotlight that moves around while our flat Earth stays still, obviously.
Okay, ignoring all of that, what about the moon, dumbass?
It's not real.
Will, are you actually being serious with me right now? The moon isn't real.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at pictures of the moon landing, there's not a single star in the sky. And how can the flag be waving if there's no wind in space?
I can't do this with you right now.
Yeah, well, in the spirit of being an informed and involved citizen, like you always claim to be, let's look at some credible sources.
Okay, well, it usually takes you an hour and a half to watch 60 Minutes, and we don't have that kind of time right now, so what do you suggest?
I got it.
Hi everyone, we're back and live from J114. I'm Keon Kalantar.
And I'm Andrew Yang. Continuing with our discussion on the real dangers of conspiracy theories, let's talk about the rise of the anti-vaccination movement.
Essentially, these anti-vaxxers believe that the preventative vaccinations our children receive can cause a whole host of symptoms, including poisoning, infection, immune system compromise, and of course, autism. Autism. I mean, seriously, why does this even warrant further discussion?
Because people actually believe it, Keon. A study by the American Academy of Pediatrics found that fewer people got their kids vaccinated for whooping cough in 2010 than they did when the vaccine was first introduced in the 1940s. That's just unbelievable. So unbelievable that we wanted to see it for ourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from Wolverine Way, our reporter in the field, Alexis Waldner.
Thanks, Andrew. Of course. The main demographic involved in the anti-vax movement is parents, and today I'm here with the founder and president of the Anti-Vaxxers Stop Sickness organization, Karen Baumgartner. Karen, tell me, what compelled you to start ASS?
Well, it's obvious, isn't it? Every day, our children suffer from vaccine-caused diseases and death. And every day, the same asshole politicians and doctors sweep it under the rug. They're killing our babies. So I decided enough is enough. I started ASS to spread the word to other parents, and it's worked. I'm proud to say that my precious little son Johnny and all his little friends haven't been to that death trap called a hospital in over 2 years.
So how are you convinced about the dangers of vaccines exactly?
Vaccines? Do you mean death sticks? Do you have any idea what Big Pharma puts in those things? Chemicals like formaldehyde? Do you know what chemicals are? Here's a hint. Bad. Like I let them pump those poisons to my little Johnny. But then I saw it. This smart surgeon guy in vaccines caused autism. Can you imagine my poor Johnny with autism? So yeah, I think it's quite obvious why I'm convinced about the dangers of vaccines.
And you don't think that Johnny might be likely to get sick and possibly spread it to his friends?
Natural selection. Of course not. These vaccines, they make us sicker. In fact, we would all be healthier without them. See, it's because they disrupt the natural order of things. God didn't intend for us to inject formaldehyde into our bloodstream. That's why we should be using my homemade essential oils. There are no chemicals involved. It's so much healthier, safer. Do you want to take a look at my catalog?
No, I'm all right. It's
Buy
okay.
my oils! Buy my
No, we're
oils!
fine,
Buy
we're fine,
my
we're
oils!
fine.
Buy
Thank
the
you.
oils!
Back to you, Keon.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this point I'd like to take a brief moment of silence for all the brain cells that were lost while listening to that interview.
It should go without saying that these allegations are obviously false. But for those in the audience that are still skeptical, we'll say it anyway. Vaccines are good. In fact, they're so good that the rate of measles infections dropped over 94% in just 1 decade after vaccines was released. And no, half of them did not die of high formaldehyde afterwards. Actually, our bodies produce more formaldehyde than is even in the average vaccine.
Also, that study Karen mentioned, the one by the surgeon, his name is Andrew Wakefield. The procedural errors and financial conflicts involved with this study caused him to lose his medical license faster than the flu is going to put little Johnny out there in the fucking ground. But alas, people believe it.
Yep, it baffles me. Thankfully, we have some research talking about why people will choose to create and stick to these wild theories. One common thing: People love to blame politicians for whatever they can. You remember when thanks Obama was a big thing?
Of course I do. But believe it or not, there have been crazier cases. In 1916, there was a series of shark attacks off the coast of New Jersey. When reporters polled areas heavily affected by the attacks, they found out that the support for President Woodrow Wilson had drastically decreased.
That makes absolutely no sense.
Right, but people tend to believe what they want to. In the end, we want to feel comfortable, not necessarily be right. But there's another thing at play. People want to feel special. Those without much to hang on to in life will chase the feeling of being woke and knowing something the rest of the sheep are blind to. And that's how a lot of these theories spawn.
Absolutely. For example, a common theory is that a small group of elites runs the world. The Illuminati or the Kushners or whoever. But lots of people are convinced everything is controlled by a few rich white dudes. Psychologists have this one figured out though.
So how do they explain it?
The people who believe in this theory tend to have a negative outlook on life. They see the world as a bad place, and instead of looking at the complexities and human nature that causes it, it's way easier to just believe that few elites are causing everything evil.
That's kind of sad. Isn't it selfish for them to stick their noses into a theory instead of trying to help the masses be better?
Yeah, totally, but it's easier.
I get that. The Illuminati is also a way simpler explanation than human nature. And that's another thing that plays in. Consider this. You're up for a promotion at work. You know it's between you and Mark. You're sitting at your desk when you see Jeff, who you've never gotten along with, walk out of your boss's office. 5 minutes later, your boss comes over and tells you Mark's getting the promotion. What do you think happened, Andy?
I think Jeff screwed me over.
And that's why you're polling at 3%.
Wait, but that makes no sense.
Of course it seems to. It's the simple explanation. But you didn't even consider for 1 second your work performance, your interactions with your boss, your education, everything else.
Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. But wouldn't I be mad at Jeff for no reason then?
Yep, and you wouldn't bother actually improving yourself. Because why would you when you can just blame Jeff?
I totally get around having to question myself.
Good point. But I've heard that avoiding questions like that is another big cause of conspiracy theories. Do you have any other examples?
For sure. The people who blame Bush for 9/11, if they accept that a few terrorists totally got around US security and killed thousands, they have to ask themselves, can the US keep us safe? Is the American foreign policy causing more harm than good? Should we stop mucking around in the Middle East?
So, it's easier to just blame Bush. No questions there. But there's another part to this. 9/11 was a huge event, a national turning point, a massive occurrence. But to believe that it was caused by just a few terrorists, that just seems way too small.
Right, it does. This ties into what's called proportionality bias, the idea that events should have proportional causes. In most parts of life, it makes total sense. Most of what we see has a similarly sized cause. But when big events like 9/11 happen with tiny causes, we go wild.
We do. This actually happened when Princess Diana died. She was a huge figure on the world stage. And how'd she die?
A simple car accident.
Right, but people started saying she was still alive and in hiding. She was killed by governments, all sorts of wild stuff. It's the same as what happened when one deranged man killed JFK. The cause just seems too small.
Huh. Yeah, that's a weird effect. So why do people dig in when they're called out on this?
Like I said, people want to be comfortable more than they care to be correct.
Even when there are consequences?
Yeah, they still selfishly stick to their guns. I mean, look at what's happening around the world. Measles and whooping cough infections are becoming more and more common. Rising temperatures are fueling the Australian bushfires. American citizens, born and raised, are having their identities questioned. But these conspiracy theorists simply reject these harsh realities, created by those presented with a world that they can't process. How will we ever progress in this way?
Honestly, we won't. Even with people's children sick and the earth dying and our freedom compromised, we still see these theories getting spread all the way up to the presidential level. And no, I'm not kidding.
So the bottom line is this. Conspiracy theories are stupid. And now more than ever, we need to stop being stupid. Let's end the rejection of basic fact and learn to confront the issues head on.
I couldn't have said it better myself. For the Regal Report, I'm Andrew Yang.
And I'm Keon Kalatar.
Talk about fake news, am I
Are you
right?
kidding me?